Thousands of years ago, long before the rise of great civilizations, before the pyramids were built, and before the first words were ever written down, a bold and epic migration unfolded across the globe. It was a journey that would shape the destiny of entire continents and redefine the course of human history. This is the story of the first people who ventured into the Americas, the first Americans. Welcome to Tides of Memory, where the past isn't forgotten. My name is Tom, and today we dive deeper into the remarkable journey of the first humans that went to the Americas. To understand how the first humans reached the Americas, we must journey back to the end of the last ice age, more than 20,000 years ago. During this time, vast glaciers covered large parts of the northern hemisphere, locking up immense quantities of the Earth's water and lowering global sea levels. This geological shift revealed a land bridge called Beringia, a vast stretch of land connecting Siberia in modern-day Russia to Alaska in North America. Picture a frozen world at the edge of survival. The wind howls across vast open plains, and small bands of hunter-gatherers move silently through snow-dusted valleys, following the tracks of mammoths and caribou. It was here, at the margins of northeastern Asia, that the first seeds of an epic migration were sown. Life in Ice Age Siberia was a constant battle against the elements. Winters were long and unforgiving. Herds of animals moved unpredictably. Competition between groups for food and shelter was fierce. These conditions didn't spark a mass exodus overnight, but they shaped a people who were mobile, resourceful, and intimately connected to the world around them. As they moved eastward, they discovered something remarkable: a vast exposed plain where the ocean had once been. A land bridge, later known as Beringia. Stretching over 1,000 miles from modern Siberia to Alaska, this was not a desolate wasteland, but a thriving ecosystem. Grasses and shrubs covered the land. Herds of animals roamed freely, and the people followed. Beringia became more than just a passage. It was home. Archaeological evidence and genetic research suggest that some groups may have lived here for thousands of years. These early communities built lives in the cold silence of this land, hunting, gathering, raising children, waiting for the ice to retreat. And then, the glaciers shifted. A corridor opened, albeit briefly, between the Laurentide and Cordilleran ice sheets, revealing a path into the heart of the Americas. For others, the sea offered an alternative. The coastal route, a rugged trail along the Pacific edge, may have served as a marine highway. Early people, equipped with simple watercraft, navigated through rocky coves and dense kelp forests, harvesting fish and shellfish as they advanced southward. These migrations were not dramatic stampedes into a new world. They were slow, deliberate, and deeply human. Families moved a few miles at a time. Camps were set up, then abandoned. Stories were shared by firelight, carried across generations. Children were born who had never known the land their ancestors left behind. They did not know they were exploring a new continent. There were no maps, no final destinations, only the instinct to survive, to adapt, and to follow the patterns of life. It was not ambition or conquest that drove them, but the subtle push of necessity and the pull of opportunity. Through wind-swept plains, across icy coastlines, and into forests untouched by human footsteps, they travelled. They crossed rivers, climbed mountains, and endured bitter storms. Every footprint they left behind marked the beginning of what would become thousands of years of human presence in the Americas. This was not a journey of conquest, but of continuity, a migration not defined by borders, but by persistence. The first footsteps into the Americas were taken not by explorers seeking fame, but by families seeking life. And through them, the story of humanity would enter a new chapter, one that continues to unfold to this day. Beringia wasn't just a narrow corridor of frozen land. At its peak, it stretched over 1,000 miles wide and was a relatively hospitable tundra grassland, teeming with life. Herds of mammoths, bison, caribou, and other Ice Age megafauna roamed this expanse, offering a rich source of food for the hunter-gatherers who followed them. These people were part of a broader migration out of Africa that had already reached East Asia. Now, drawn by the promise of new lands and driven by changing climates, some of them made the most important journey of their lives. For many years, archaeologists believed that the first people arrived in the Americas around 13,000 years ago based on the discovery of Clovis points, distinctive stone tools associated with the Clovis culture. These finely crafted spear points were first uncovered in New Mexico in the 1930s, and they offered the earliest concrete evidence of human presence in North America. But the Clovis first theory has faced increasing challenges. In recent decades, groundbreaking discoveries have pushed back the timeline of human arrival in the Americas significantly. Sites like Monte Verde in Chile, dating back to nearly 14,500 years ago, and others such as the Galt site in Texas and Buttermilk Creek, provide strong evidence that humans were present long before the Clovis culture emerged. So how did they get there? One major theory suggests that as the glaciers began to retreat around 16,000 years ago, a coastal route opened up along the Pacific shoreline. This Kelp Highway theory proposes that early humans may have used boats or travelled along the coastlines, exploiting rich marine ecosystems as they moved southward. This route would have allowed them to bypass the massive ice sheets that covered much of the interior and reach habitable areas much earlier than previously believed. Supporting this idea are archaeological finds in British Columbia and other coastal sites that suggest human presence as early as 15,000 years ago. Whether by land or by sea, these early migrants brought with them not only their tools and hunting skills, but also rich cultural traditions. They were innovators, capable of adapting to extreme climates, crafting clothing, building shelters, and developing complex social structures. Over time, these pioneering groups spread out across the Americas, from the frozen tundra of the Arctic to the tropical rainforests of the Amazon. They did not settle in one place but moved with the seasons, following game and harvesting wild plants. These early societies laid the foundations for what would become a vast mosaic of indigenous cultures, each uniquely adapted to their environment. The ancestors of today's Native American peoples were already thriving in the Americas thousands of years before the first European explorers set foot on these lands. Modern genetics has also played a vital role in uncovering this ancient story. Studies of mitochondrial DNA, Y chromosomes, and even ancient genomes extracted from remains have revealed complex patterns of migration. Most Native American populations share genetic markers that trace back to Siberian ancestors. Yet, the story doesn't end there. Recent studies suggest that multiple waves of migration may have occurred, including possible early interactions with populations from Southeast Asia or even coastal Polynesia, though these remain controversial. One of the most significant genetic clues comes from a child buried in Montana over 12,000 years ago at the Anzac site. The remains were associated with Clovis artifacts, and the DNA revealed close genetic ties to modern Native Americans, confirming a deep and continuous lineage. While we still don't have all the answers, one thing is certain. The peopling of the Americas was not a single event, but a long and dynamic process. It spanned millennia, involved multiple migrations, and unfolded against the backdrop of dramatic environmental change. The first Americans were explorers, survivors, and trailblazers. Their epic journey into a new world remains one of the greatest chapters in the human story. As new discoveries continue to emerge from the ice, the soil, and even our own DNA, we come ever closer to understanding the full scope of this extraordinary migration. Thank you for watching Tides of Memory. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more historical deep dives into the tides of history. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel for more content like this, and as always, stay curious.